Blackstone Audio presents The Bishop's Wife by Robert Nathan. This book is read by Stephen R. Thorne.
Chapter 1. All about, in the cities and in the villages, the country was being built. No longer parched by deserts, devoured by wolves, and scalped by Indians, the descendants of the pioneers were erecting buildings of marble and steel, hundreds of feet into the air, and covering acres of ground. Everywhere were mines, mills, bridges, cities, farms, and power plants. Nevertheless, the pioneers still persisted, since everybody was a pioneer. But there were certain differences. These differences were of a practical nature. That is to say, people were not obliged to suffer discomfort any longer. As a matter of fact, the entire country groaned with comfort, although it had not yet reached its full development. This gave rise to an extraordinary state of mind. At the moment that whole cities were being torn down in order to make room for something larger, it was generally conceded that everything was perfect. So it was possible to admire the country's perfection, and at the same time to assist in its improvement. In the schools, children were taught that 4 is twice as large as 2, and to despise foreigners. As a result, there emerged from the schoolrooms of the nation a race of men and women filled with pride and anxious to increase 2 into 4. Nothing was allowed to stand in the way of this ambition. It was the duty of the Church to illuminate with the light of piety the vigorous battles of the industrial world. This was not considered difficult or astonishing in view of modern exegesis. The bishop's house stood on a hill above the city. From one window he could see the river, and from another the gray cathedral which stood on the same hill, pointing with sharp stone fingers at the sky. The city made a steady noise all about, and the cathedral also made a sound with its bells. They rose in peal upon peal from the gray walls stained by the pigeons and disputed with horns, shouts, squeals, rumbles, and human cries. The bishop's study was on the ground floor of his house. Along the walls stood his bookcases, containing the works of the fathers of the church and biographies of eminent businessmen. In the one he had studied theology, from the other he had learned administration. For the bishop had many problems. He controlled, as regent of God, not 1, but 2 cathedrals, 20 churches, 12 parish houses, 2 deans, 3 archdeacons, more than 100 curates, deacons and sextons, 7 female auxiliaries, and a great deal of money.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?